guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Oyin Ade, and thank you so much for tuning in and subscribing. If you're new, welcome, and don't forget to subscribe so you can join the lit family. We lit over here and we're fun too. Alright guys, so today I decided to do a video speaking about the struggles of growing up in the UK without papers. And like guys, I can't believe me, Oyin, is sitting here. I can't believe I'll be doing a video about this thing, because this was something I was so embarrassed about, and people made it like it was such a big deal when I was younger. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video today to speak to people on my struggles, my experience, what I went through, what I missed out on growing up in the UK without papers. And I know that I don't know who I can help with it, but I know I could help someone else, because if I had someone do this video when I was younger and I was going through it, it would have been easier for me, and I wouldn't have had to lie about different things. In case the light is going up and down, I'm using natural lighting, so that, you know, I just wanted to use natural lighting. I wanted us to be comfortable. So before we jump right into the video, make sure you guys are comfortable. Like, I want to tell you guys my experience. I'm going to be so honest and raw with you guys. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. So I basically came into this country when I was 6. Yes, so in Nigeria, I lived in Nigeria. From my memories and what I could remember and recollect, when we were in Nigeria, we had a comfortable life. We went to, I don't know if it was a private school, but I think it was a private school. From what I can remember, I know we went to a private school. We had a good life. We were okay, like we were comfortable and happy. When I came here when I was 6, it's so crazy because I'd never been to Lagos in my life. I've always lived in Oyo, Ibadan, and I've never been to Lagos. So the first time I passed through Lagos was when I was coming here. I've never been anywhere else in Lagos. I just passed through, literally. I passed through coming here, and that's it. When I came here, I wore a white dress, like a white, you know them white princess dresses with like trainers. I wore a white dress and I didn't have hair, so I had a low cut. I'm gonna put a picture actually of how I looked so I had a really low cut, and everything was just strange. I remember coming into this country, like, you know, when you're younger you get vivid memories. The memories I remember when I first came here was when I was on a train. Now I know it was a train, you know, the Finsbury Park, from Finsbury Park going to Heathrow. So the train from Heathrow going to Finsbury Park, we were on that train coming, and we lived, the first house we lived in, and it's so crazy because this is the beginning of my new life. Like, I didn't even think of that. I just thought, okay, yeah, as a child you're just going with the flow, following your parent. But now I think about it and I'm actually walking down memory lane. That day was like the beginning of my life, the beginning of my new life. So we lived in Manor House, right? So life as a young child, I was, you know, it wasn't hard then because I was still young. I didn't know anything. I feel like I started to understand the importance of having papers, you know, around secondary school time. So in primary school, I was a freshie. I came here when I was 6. I started in year 2, right? I was a freshie. I don't know how to speak English, and I had the H factor. So I used to say house, air, and I didn't have air then, hair. So there was one time, let me give you an example guys. There was one time, you know, I told my friend, oh, I cut my hair, you know, and she panicked, like, oh my god. She went to tell the teacher, and in school they don't call me Oyin, they call me Atia. So she was like, Atia cut her hair, Atia cut her hair, Atia cut her hair, Atia cut her hair. Me, I was saying air, but she thought I was saying air because of the, you know, the H factor. So she went and she told, I've got so many memories from when I was younger, and they were all good memories. When I started to notice, okay, I'm going to speak about different things. So let's first speak about the school aspect of it. So the school aspect of not having papers and how it affected me growing up, and how I dealt with it. So now when we got to year 6 in school, we had to go on a school trip. You know how you go on like a school trip to, let's say, Spain or France in year 6? We had to go on one of those trips. Me, I was excited, thinking, yes, you know, school trip, let's go. I didn't know anything about me having a passport in Nigeria. I didn't know anything about that. So I was just thinking, yeah, school trip, let's go. Me and my friend at the time, we were planning, you know. I was really excited because that would have been my first time traveling out the country. So I was so happy. So then I take the letter home to my mom, and like I just give her the letter, like, you know, we're going on holiday. And then she said something like, oh, so ni or something like that. But it wasn't in that way. She was like, low, like, you know, oh, ni passport. She just said it in a way like, you can't go, you don't have a passport to go. Them times I didn't understand what that meant, like I couldn't go. But me not having papers at that point affected me in a way whereby I had to miss out on school trip, which I thought was a really big deal then because I was younger. I don't think anyone understands the gravity of missing out on something that everyone is getting involved in, especially when you want to go, and it's not like you don't want to go. Do you understand? I don't think anyone understands the gravity of it. So that was the first time I actually like learned that, wow, me not having papers can actually stop me from doing a lot of things my peers are actually doing. And for someone that's young, you know, I couldn't process that, and I couldn't understand why, like, you know when you just don't understand why you have to be different. And when I got home and my mom told me, it wasn't like a secret, but I was embarrassed about it. Like, I was so embarrassed and I couldn't tell any of my friends. Another thing it affected in school, like, I'm going to speak about school and housing. So another thing that me not having papers really affected at school was school meal. Like, you know, my mom would give me money for school, like lunch. But at that age, you see everyone collecting school meal, and I would try and get it, and they were like, you're not entitled to free school meal. And I'm just thinking, am I not a child? Like, every child should be entitled to free school meal. And that's the saddest thing. People don't understand that the children that are not entitled to school meal are the ones that probably need it the most. Because these parents, like the children that don't have papers and they are in a school because they don't have papers, they're the ones that probably have less because their parents don't have enough, or even work a proper job to get them to, or even work a proper job to earn enough. Do you understand? So that used to affect me. I couldn't get free school meal. I couldn't get like free stuff from school when they were giving it to kids that were entitled to free school meal because I didn't have papers. And like, you know, all these things will just accumulate, and it makes you feel like, wow, is there really anything you can do in this country without papers? So that's my school life. I'm going to speak about my housing and like how not having papers affected us, like growing up, you know, and how it worked its way through my school life. So when we were younger, obviously, I noticed that, you know, when we first started, we came in this country, we lived in like a one bed. And every house we moved to was always like a one bed, like we all had to share a room. And you think about it like, wow, like, rah. Like, I had to share a room. Like, alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful now I have a whole house. But it's so crazy because when I was growing up, like, I literally had to share a room with all my siblings, like all my siblings. When you don't have papers, everything is not easy. You can't just go to the council to get housing. You can't just go to someone to help you, you know. You can't just go here to get this because they have requirements. They will ask you for your documents. They'll ask you for your passport. They'll ask you for these things. And if you don't have that, who's going to rent you a property? What credit do you have? Like, there's just so much that comes into it. And now as an adult, I think about it and I'm like, wow. Like, my mom, she didn't have anyone to guide her or let her know. I always lived in a one room, and I remember I would always go to my friend's house and it was different. Like, her house was huge. All her family members had their own room, and for me to have my own room, that was like a dream. Like, when I was younger, that's one thing I actually used to wish for. Oh my god, I can't wait for me to have my own room. I'm gonna decorate this like this. And it might not be a big deal to some people, but for me it was a big deal. Like, I never got to have my own room, you know, that experience. So even from going to school, my friends would always want to come to my house. You know, it's normal, I go to their house. Then it started affecting my self-esteem and how I would portray myself. I can't lie, guys, I started lying to my friends. So, you know, I had a friend in particular that would always go to her house, and then, you know, she would want to come to my house, and I would lie to her that I lived somewhere else. So I would tell her I lived in a different house and my grandma lived down the road. I don't know, I want to make this story make sense. So I lived on a street, right? My house was further down, but there was this big house. As soon as you get on the street, that's all you see, like the huge house. So I lied to my friend that I lived in that huge house when I actually lived down the road. I don't know, guys, like, I literally lied and lied, and then they called me out one time, and I don't know what to say. Me, that I used to say my grandma lived in the house that I actually lived in, and I lived in this big house, and my grandma was in Nigeria. Like, guys, but just to show you how that little, you know, it's not little, but that one thing can affect a whole load of things. So just to show you how not having papers can affect a whole load of stuff. Like, obviously that's not my situation now, and I'm so grateful I've overcome that. But I just thought, you know, to make a video informing you guys, look, if you're in that situation now, don't worry. Like, let me tell you, if you're someone struggling and you don't have papers, don't be, like, be transparent. And that's what I've learned. If I didn't lie when I was younger, I could have actually found someone that could have helped us, because I was so embarrassed about my situation. And back then I wasn't as confident, I wasn't as comfortable to speak about things that I'm able to speak about now. But I feel like if you're in that situation, if you can speak to someone that you trust, you can speak to someone that you can confide in and not lie about your situation. Like, there's some people, I'm sure if I spoke to I had a friend in school, she was Nigerian, and I'm sure she had papers. I'm sure if I spoke to her, she would have probably been able to speak to her mom would have probably spoken to my mom, giving her a lawyer advice. You know, this is one thing I used to remember all the time. You know them corner shops that'll have like sticky notes on the corner shop window? They'll have the notes and like a contact number to contact for like, oh, 1 bed to let, call this number. That's how we used to find a house. Like, literally, when we were younger, that's how we used to rent properties to live in. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I feel like I'm so grateful that I actually lived like that and grew up like that. I'm so grateful that I'm here now. Like, it's not a big deal where I am now, but from where I came from, I'm so grateful about the things I went through. Said, like, you have to go through your struggles to come out. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna say it's a walk in the park to grow up in the UK without papers. There's, you know, there are things you do that you might feel like, wow, this is, you know, this is not nice, but you have to do it. But if you're in a situation that you need help with anything, just message me. I'll give you tips and like advice on how I got through certain things and how we got through certain things as a family. But yeah, guys, you know, that's not my situation anymore. So I grew up not having papers till probably after secondary school. And like, they would ask me, you know, is everything okay at home? And they actually wanted to help. But I was scared because people were telling my mom, social worker, they'll take your children. So I was actually genuinely scared, like, oh my God, are they gonna take us away from my mom? But like, the 5 things I want you to take away from this video: if you're living in the UK without papers, you know, try and find a charity or someone that's informed that can help you. If you need help, you need charities, you can message me. I know quite a few now that I can suggest you to, depending on what area you're in. Try and speak to someone in your school that can give you advice. Trust me, there's always someone in your school, especially if you're underage. They're not going to call immigration on you. They're not going to send you back. Like, people are so misinformed when it comes to that they think, oh, they're going to call immigration and say no. So try and speak to someone. 3rd, don't hide. Like, don't be ashamed of who you are. And this is how I was ashamed of where I lived, who I was. I affected my self-esteem. Don't be ashamed. Accept that this is just a stepping stone for you, that you're gonna come out on top. Because once you lose your self-esteem and your confidence because of where you're living, it affects you totally. You don't want it to start affecting your education, how you see things and how you see life. You know, the 4th thing I always say, always be optimistic, to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you're not optimistic, you know, you're not going to want to put in work to try and make your life and situation better. And the last advice I would say, if you do research yourself to see who you can speak to, and like, just try and help yourself rather than just sitting around. But yeah, I really hoped I've touched up on everything in this video, you know, my upbringing, my struggles, and I really hope it will help someone. This is not going to be the last of it. I'm going to get more people on my channel. I'm going to get a lot of people, like different people, to speak about their experience, because I've got quite a few friends that didn't grow up in the UK, that came from Nigeria without papers. You know, I know my channel is all vibes and inshallah, you know, let's turn up, you know. But I really just want to I want you guys to know me. I know that I'm Oye and I'm happy, but I've not always been like this. I feel like I'm comfortable and happy now, but I've not always been like that. You know, I came from somewhere and I just want to share my experience with you guys, and you never know, maybe I can help someone. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.